Well, yesterday, Datuk Tengku Taufik, Datuk Faiz Azmi, and I presented to the Climate Club, which is a grouping of around 20 heads of mission who are very keen to understand the latest developments and challenges we are facing in the climate emergency. This was hosted by His Excellency Charles Hay, the High Commissioner from the United Kingdom, and I am now so very pleased to invite His Excellency to deliver his message of support for the roundtable sessions.
Excellencies, guests, ladies and gentlemen, over 2 years ago, when the UK began preparations for our chairing of COP26, less than 30% of the global economy was covered by net zero or carbon neutrality commitments. And this included the UK, one of the first major economies to legislate for a net zero goal. But after COP26, around 90% of world GDP is covered by a net zero or carbon neutral goal. And this, of course, includes Malaysia, with the laudable carbon neutral plan announced by the Prime Minister in the 12th Malaysia Plan last year. At COP26, Malaysia also contributed to the adoption of the Glasgow Climate Pact, a recognition that to keep the below 1.5 degree target alive, national pledges needed to be revisited and strengthened to align with that goal. In practical terms, realising this climate goal will need business leadership and action. So I'm pleased to commend the efforts of the CEO Action Network and Climate Governance Malaysia to convene business perspectives and solutions on increasing climate ambition and action. This report will provide an important impetus for wider business action towards the climate transition, working together for our planet alongside government and civil society. Its findings are all the more urgent in the wake of the new IPCC reports on climate adaptation and mitigation. And these reports have given us the clearest signal yet of the urgency of reducing emissions now, if the worst impacts of climate change are to be averted. But they also show the dramatic fall in the costs of renewable energy and the availability of mitigation options across all sectors. Indeed, many of these are the same sectors that the Cannes roundtables have focused on, such as energy, land use, and the built environment. Many themes of this report also align with the UK's own ambitions in hosting COP26 and beyond. For instance, one of the report's themes is that business needs to be good stewards of natural capital. In doing so, they can draw on the Dasgupta review of the economics of biodiversity, released last year by the UK Treasury. The Dasgupta review underscores the need to properly value nature in our economic decision-making. At COP26, Malaysia was one of the 140 countries endorsing the Glasgow leaders' declaration on forests and land use, committing to halt and reverse deforestation by 2030. Valuing nature for its ecosystem services and benefits can be an important tool to deliver on this commitment, and something that government and business can work together on. Locally, the UK is also working to support Malaysia's climate transition. Much of this work aims to strengthen the enabling environment for private sector climate action and investment. Our work in green finance has supported the development of the Malaysian Sustainable Finance Initiative and built regulator capacity on assessing climate risks and disclosures. Our work with city authorities has supported the development of DBKL's 2050 Climate Action Plan, providing a sound basis for its participation in the city's Race to Zero campaign. Our UK PACT programme, or Partnering for Accelerated Climate Transitions, is working with state governments such as Terengganu on attracting further finance for forest conservation, and with Sarawak on their green economy plans. Ladies and gentlemen, the Glasgow Climate Pact, agreed at COP26, keeps 1.5 alive, but only just. Strengthening its pulse requires businesses to show climate leadership. We're encouraged by those who've set their own net zero targets, but I urge others to do so. COP26 may be over, but advancing climate ambition remains a priority for the UK. We stand ready to work with you, together, for our planet. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency Charles Hay. We are grateful for your message of support and encouragement. Absolutely, Johan. And that's why we are so keen to hear from our major trading partners as well. And we have messages of support from them. I'm so pleased to welcome His Excellency Roland Galharague, Ambassador from France, and His Excellency Michalis Rokas, Ambassador from the United Nations. Over to you.
Hello, I'm Roland Galharague, the French ambassador to Malaysia. When it comes to climate, it's 5 to midnight already. The UN Secretary General has called it Code Red for humanity, and is right. If we want to leave a livable planet to our children, we must cut our global emissions by 45% in the coming decade. We all know this, and Malaysians know this. Malaysia is such a mega-diverse country with such a rich natural heritage. With all of us living in Malaysia, we experience firsthand how climate has gone berserk. Think of the floods, think of the extreme climate events which we've been witnessing in the last month or so. There's no doubt we must all act together. And of course, governments have a role to play. And here I want to congratulate the Malaysian government for setting a new target of carbon neutrality by 2050. I want to congratulate CEO Action Network and Climate Governance Malaysia for their 21 Roundtable series. And I want to commend them upon the launch of the 22 series. Corporations also have a role to play. And we all, as consumers, also have a role to play. So let's act together. There is no planet B.
Dear members of the Malaysian government agencies and departments, leaders of the business community, civil society actors, ladies and gentlemen. As the ambassador of the European Union to Malaysia, I'm pleased to support the work of the CEO Action Network and of Climate Governance Malaysia, and in particular the launch of this new series of roundtable on the topic Exploring a Lower Emissions Pathway. The European Union aims at becoming climate neutral by 2050 and at cutting greenhouse gas emissions by 55% in 2030 when one compares to 1990 levels. To do so, the European Union is working on several fronts, including production and consumption of energy, renewable energy and energy efficiency, sustainable fuels for transportation, the pricing of carbon emissions, and by ensuring that forests and land usage contribute to the fight against climate change. Moreover, this work is pursued both inside the European Union and in close collaboration with third countries. This requires a holistic approach, that is, a whole of a society and all of government common endeavor. Malaysia has also committed to take actions to achieve the climate change goals agreed in Paris. I commend the efforts by the CEO Action Network and by Climate Governance Malaysia to keep this topic always high on the agenda of the Malaysian authorities and the Malaysian business community. Malaysia is a beautiful country, blessed with nature and biodiversity, which would suffer significantly from the rising global temperatures and sea levels over the next few years if we do not take action now. The European Union is willing to go the distance with Malaysia in this challenging but necessary journey. We are ready to work together with Malaysia at bilateral, regional and international level and to partner in emission reductions and environment protection. We have already a number of initiatives in the pipeline this first semester of the year in cooperation with the Embassy of France to Malaysia and many more actions are coming. Reducing greenhouse gas emission is our common goal. We can achieve it by collaborating. We can do it together. Terima kasih.
Thank you so much, ambassadors. You and many others have been most supportive in this important engagement.